The quarterfinals of the Australian Open are coming to a close today, and as we move to the last four on both sides of the draw, we've roped in tennis analyst Bruce Davidson to talk about the tournament so far. Good morning, Bruce. Happy 2024. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning.
Pleasure. Good to be on the show, and hello to you and all your viewers.
Bruce, let's talk about what we've seen so far at the Australian Open, because some of the seeded players have unexpectedly already departed from the tournament, but it seems as though the cream really has risen to the top in terms of who's still left in the competition.
Absolutely. We started the tournament off with a very top-heavy men's and women's seeds, and we definitely didn't see many surprises until Thursday of the first week, which was last Thursday, when Elena Rybakina was the first major seed to crash. Since then, it's like crazy. Sorry. Since then, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag, but the top seeds are still there. Djokovic is still the favorite in the men's singles, and he's through to the semi-final. He wants to win that 25th Grand Slam. We've got a big blockbuster coming up shortly with Alcaraz and Zverev. And then on court at the moment, we have Daniil Medvedev. He's split sets with Herbert Hurkacz. I see it's 2 sets all there. That's going to be an interesting one. And then, of course, we know that Sinner has earned his place in the semi-final against Djokovic. Now, that's going to be a really big one. To me, the winner of the Sinner versus Djokovic match will win the tournament. And then, of course, in the women's singles semi-final, Aryna Sabalenka still on course. Coco Gauff is now her big hurdle. And then the interesting top half of the draw. The top half of the draw is where we have no seeded players. So it's anyone's guess who's going to get through to the final. And I see that Diana Yastremska, the Ukrainian, is the first qualifier to reach a Grand Slam semi-final earlier today. So that's a lens for some exciting tennis. And it shows that the WTA Tour have got some really good depth in the entire makeup of the tour.
You've said a lot of interesting things in that response, Bruce. Let me go a little bit deeper in terms of you speaking about that semi-final clash for Djokovic. You're saying the winner there will be the one that will win in that final.
Yeah, look, Djokovic is definitely the most informed player at the Australian Open. The one player that can beat him, in my opinion, is Jannik Sinner. We know that Jannik Sinner beat him at the Davis Cup late last year, as well as in the round-robin stages of the ATP Tour Masters in Turin, Italy. So he has his number, and it's going to be an interesting encounter. Sinner is seen as the new kid on the block, the new boy. He moves extremely well around the Foss courts of Melbourne. And it depends when that match is actually scheduled, because if Djokovic gets the shade, he's got the upper hand. But if it's going to be hot and summer, the hot summer Australian heat that we know it can get, I think he could be in trouble against someone like Sinner. But we must not forget Carlos Alcaraz. He annoys Djokovic. Djokovic always says he's an annoying opponent. And when someone like Djokovic says someone's annoying, you know that that is a respectful comment. And Carlos Alcaraz, it could be a big threat to Djokovic, but he's got to get past Zverev, and that's going to be a very, very interesting match, which is played a little later today.
All right, we wouldn't mind a little bit of an annoyance in the final, but let's speak to the women's side of the competition, because we've seen the defending champion in Sabalenka already starting with the mind games. She'll be going up against Coco Gauff, and she's already saying she wants revenge for that US Open competition that they had. What do you make of what this clash possibly will look like?
Well, I think this is going to be probably the match of the tournament. Sabalenka is definitely out there to prove that she's not a one Grand Slam wonder. She won her maiden Grand Slam last year at the Australian Open, which put her in a very comfortable position to stay in the top 2 or 3 in the world for the whole year. She needs to win a few more Grand Slams, but having won in Australia and being the queen of the court, she's obviously a very clear favourite. But Coco Gauff has done some extraordinary things in her off season. She's got stronger physically. She can you can see she's stronger. And also, her forehand, which was never a weapon, it's all of a sudden got a little bit of spark and whip.
Bruce.
She's been working on that forehand.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I'm going to have to get you back on to speak about this because I also still wanted to touch on Kgothatso as well as Donald Rampadi, who we know are also out at the Australian Open. But thank you so much for your time this morning. It's always a pleasure, Bruce.
Pleasure. Thank you.
We will try get Bruce on once again to just take us through what's happening out at the Australian Open.